For a couple of weeks, I lived in a house that felt like it was straight out of a nightmare. I was a college student at the time, and my parents were paying for the house where I lived. The house itself was modest, nothing too fancy or large, and at first I was happy with it. But that only lasted for the first few days. Things started to get strange very quickly. One rainy Saturday, with nothing else to do, I decided to watch TV for a while. That was when I heard a scraping sound coming from the living room floor. I glanced around, half expecting to find an animal that had somehow gotten inside, but I didn't see anything. I shrugged it off and returned to watching TV, thinking it was nothing. That was the first odd event, though I didn't think much of it at the time. The rain continued throughout the day and into the night, and it provided a good excuse to stay in. I kept watching TV in the living room when I suddenly thought I heard something coming from the kitchen. In a strange, almost laughable reaction, I grabbed a pillow as if it could be used as a weapon and walked cautiously toward the kitchen. As I peered into the dark space, I was stunned to see a box of Cheerios on the floor, spilling hundreds of tiny O's across the kitchen. I had no idea how that had happened, but I dropped the pillow in disbelief and started cleaning up the mess. While I was cleaning, I heard a creaking sound, the kind you get when someone steps on a weak spot in a wooden floor. It was coming from near the kitchen table. I looked up quickly, but there was no one there. At that point, I started feeling like I was losing my mind. Maybe it was just my paranoia, or maybe I was overreacting to every little sound. After finishing cleaning up the Cheerios, I returned to the living room and resumed watching TV, though I couldn't shake the unsettling feeling. The storm outside was getting louder, and the rumbling thunder seemed to pass directly overhead. Strangely, though, I found the sound to be oddly soothing. That was the last thing I remember, finding comfort in the sound of the storm. The next thing I knew, I woke up from what felt like an hour-long nap. The TV was still on, but that wasn't what woke me up. What had actually startled me was a loud bang or thud coming from downstairs. I quickly turned off the TV and went upstairs to bed, hoping to shake off the feeling of unease. The next day was normal, as was the one after that. However, on another gray, rainy day, strange things started happening again. I woke up feeling horrible, like I had been out drinking the night before. The sickness I felt was much worse than any hangover I had ever experienced. The gloomy, dark weather only made me want to stay in bed even more. I spent most of the day in my room, with the TV on as background noise and a garbage can by my side in case I needed to throw up. Around midday, I muted the TV after hearing strange noises coming from above me. The attic door was in my bedroom, and most of the attic was directly above it. I didn't think much of it at first, but after hearing the sounds again, I decided to investigate. I pulled myself out of bed, despite feeling nauseous with every movement, and grabbed an old baseball bat for protection. I opened the attic door and climbed up into the attic. The space was dimly lit, but there were only a few old boxes scattered around. Nothing seemed out of place. I couldn't see anything that would explain the noises I'd been hearing. I climbed back down quickly, feeling uneasy. I was honestly scared of the attic, and I didn't want to stay up there any longer. The rest of the day passed without incident, but that night, things escalated. I woke up, still feeling a bit sick, to what I initially thought was more thunder. However, as I lay there in the darkness, I heard the unmistakable sound of a thud coming from up in the attic. The chill that ran down my spine was immediate. I pulled the string to the attic door again, grabbed my baseball bat, and climbed the stairs once more, trying to muster up some courage. I made myself angry and yelled in the most intimidating voice I could. But before I could even turn on the light, I heard something that stopped me dead in my tracks. A child's giggle, echoing from the pitch-black attic. The feeling I had at that moment is beyond words. It was like everything inside me dropped, like a weightlessness that's hard to describe. The fear I felt in that instant was indescribable. There is no word for how terrified I was. I was out of that house so fast that I don't even remember running. My heart was pounding, and I was shaking as I called my dad in the middle of the cold, rainy night, asking him to come pick me up. I explained everything to him the best I could, still overwhelmed by what had happened. My parents could see how shaken I was, and in some strange way, I think they believed me. The next day, I packed up all my things, and my parents came to help me move back home. I haven't been back to that house since. To this day, I am absolutely convinced that what I experienced there was something paranormal. It wasn't just my imagination. It was real, and it was terrifying.